Hi Libra, welcome to your weekly love reading. Let's see what's going on for you this week in terms of love. So you have the Queen of Cups, sensitivity. The Vortex, which is the Devil and temptation. The Seven of Wands, endurance. The Hermit in reverse, or contemplation in reverse. The High Priestess, intuition. The World in reverse, or regeneration in reverse. The Page of Cups in reverse, or imagination in reverse. Strength, stability. The Seven of Swords, loss. And the Nine of Swords, anxiety. Okay. I was too afraid to tell you how much I love you, so that's really relevant. I became obsessed with you and it scared me. You're so perfect. I don't think I can be that perfect. Although we're from the same soul family, we're in totally different grades in our life lessons. And finally, I can't put my life on hold like this anymore. And then we'll look into these in a little bit as well. Okay. So, what does this person really want you to know? They really want you to know their feelings, how they truly feel. They may want to offer you an explanation about something that's happened in the past. Queen of Cups, sensitivity. So this is saying they feel these deep sensitive emotions to you. They may have had fears about showing that sensitive side to themselves. They may have wanted to appear like strong, like this one here, the Strength card, stability. I get the impression that they felt, or they still feel, like emotionally all over the place when it comes to your connection, because they feel so deeply about you that it really makes them nervous. It makes them feel naked and vulnerable, and this person really, really worries about how you perceive them, how you see them, what you think of them. And so I feel like it's made them clam up. They've always almost like been like the clam stuck in the shell, or the tortoise retreating into the shell. Fears about just being their true self, fears about being direct, just saying it, just coming out with their feelings. But I feel like they've bottled it all up for so long that they really, it's becoming this heavy weight on their shoulders. I feel it's like part of this person's soul contract to overcome these worries and these fears, basically about being their true self. I feel like this person struggled with that pretty much their whole life, and when it comes to you, it's almost like magnified, and it's like a challenge for their soul, or their soul is challenging them to really be direct, really be authentic, really be their true self. And it seems like the most difficult, scariest thing for this person, and it seems like a real shame, because their feelings for you are extremely deep, and you can feel that, and that is why many of you, the viewers, are very frustrated and upset and sad within this situation, because you know deep in your heart how this person truly feels about you, but you just know that they struggle in almost like confessing that to your face. This person, many of them have already confessed their feelings in certain ways. This may be someone who's hinted at their feelings. They've kind of shown you their feelings, but they've been very indirect. And at times they may have denied their feelings when they felt like it was becoming too dangerous, like they were becoming too vulnerable, too open. They're afraid of rejection. They're afraid of making a fool out of themselves. It's likely they've put you on a pedestal. They see you as the Queen of Cups. They see you as the High Priestess. This person's intimidated by you is what I'm feeling. They see that you are a strong, capable, intelligent, intuitive woman. They see that you see through their walls and their masks and their comfort zone. You see through into their heart. You see their truth. And that is what they love about you so much, that they feel so connected, that you totally understand them. But at the same time, it scares them, because throughout their day-to-day life, it's like they're always pretending to be some kind of version of themselves, which isn't the true them. So it's almost like there's this competition between these two factors. Their soul's calling them to be their true self, but that would mean they'd have to be their true self in their life in general. And then the other aspect is this fear of being their true self. And so many of them, they haven't known how to be their true self with everyone. And it's strange, because it is like they have to be their complete true self in order to have things work between you both. But they can't have it both ways. They can't like be their true self with you and then keep wearing the masks in the rest of their life. It just doesn't, it's not going to add up. It's not going to work. And so I feel like this is what this person has been trying to make a choice between: their comfort zone, basically, and continuing to hold on to their masks in their life and with you. Or, you know, they know that there needs to be a total transformation, a total, you know, not a complete 100% healing, but a major healing within them of being their true self. Because it's an energetic thing. If they're living in an illusion, or if they're weaving some kind of illusion about themselves to everyone around them, then they're not in the energy of truth. And so nothing true, nothing real can manifest out of that. They cannot get to you. They cannot get to a real relationship with you if they're still holding on to being an inauthentic version of themselves, a mask. So that was their temptation. That is the devil card. Tempted by the comfort zone. So the devil's all about being chained to fears, wounds, conditioning, any kind of block that's preventing them from recognizing their own true self and being their own true self in their life. And so it's almost like this manifestation of your relationship is in the vortex, but it's not fully grounding. I feel like this person's also been tempted by overly daydreaming about your connection rather than making it real. It's almost like a form of escapism. It's like they want things both ways. They still want their comfort zone, so they're keeping you at arm's length, and they're continuing to hold on to their life as they've always kind of known it. But they're wanting you in their life as well. So they may be hinting about their feelings. They may be wanting you in some kind of way, but then they're not being their true authentic self. And so that's why things have been going in circles in your connection. This person, they may have really felt this soul calling to make a final decision. There was like a checkpoint it was a crossroads. Are they going to go in the direction of their true self towards you, or in the direction of feeling tempted still by the comfort zone and choosing a different direction or choosing other people? Some of them chose someone else, or it doesn't necessarily have to be someone else. They may have chosen to just stay in their fears and procrastinating and not taking action and focusing on other areas of their life, being in denial about needing to take some action, and continuing to live your connection through fantasies, overthinking things, daydreaming. And for some of you, that may have led to some kind of ending in your connection, because you just felt like there was a major crossroads and they keep going in circles. They keep coming back to this same crossroads because they're continuing to choose fear over their own self-love. Self-love is being true to yourself, knowing your worth and all things like that, but they struggle with that, and so they keep coming back, they keep going in circles. It takes them back to that crossroads. Are they going to decide to be the real them, or are they going to decide to choose the masks and the fear again? And I feel like this person has kept choosing the fear, and you just didn't want to be waiting at the sidelines anymore. You felt like you were being dragged in circles as well, and like things were on hold in your life if you were continuing to wait for them. So some of you moved forward. This person's really hoping that there can be endurance of your love, of your connection. This is normally the card of standing their ground. It could be like defensiveness, pushing away. It's almost like the universe is coming in and continuing to give them this opportunity to be their true self, but it seems very scary to them because it will create a lot of upheaval in their life and in their belief systems and what they're identifying with so much. A lot is going to change, and that's very scary for them, and so they've been pushing away that change is what I'm feeling. So there's the Hermit in reverse, or contemplation in reverse. So again, to me, this is saying that they're overly contemplating, but they're not taking action. They're overly thinking about things. They're talking themselves out of things because they're overly worried, because there is the Nine of Swords, which is sleepless nights, anxiety, worrying about worst case scenarios happening. So they got stuck in this hermit mode. They're feeling very isolated in their life because they know that they're not being their true self. And so it's becoming more and more of an act with other people. But deep down they're feeling quite alone. They've been denying their intuition for a long time. They couldn't see the light. They were going in circles. But they're healing that. They are coming into actually listening to their intuition with this High Priestess. They're realizing that their actions have consequences that manifest back to them. So they're realizing, they are in much more control of their destiny, of their life, and what happens in their life than what they wanted to believe in the past. Sometimes it can seem extremely scary when we realize that we have to take responsibility for our own vibration, because we're responsible for what we attract into our life. It can seem easier to just feel like a victim or feel like it's out of our control and it's all down to the universe and just going with the flow of whatever happens. So I feel like this person's had a fear of that, fear of really embracing, accepting their responsibility for how their life is turning out. But they are starting to realize that. They may have not fully even realized that, but they've learned some difficult lesson here because they've kept going in circles and kept getting the same kind of result, which was not what they wanted. The World in reverse. So it's called regeneration in reverse. But to me, this is also unfinished business. And their world has been turned upside down by this connection, feeling emotionally all over the place. They have this fear that there's not going to be a regeneration of your connection if there was some kind of ending. Another card, Page of Cups, imagination in reverse. So yeah, this is another, the vortex, you know, that's like the higher realms. And the Hermit in reverse, or contemplation, like overly thinking things rather than taking action. Then we have imagination in reverse as well. So yeah, this person's like living their true desires through daydreaming. They may feel, you know, they may have this belief that they cannot manifest it, what they truly want with you, into reality. And so they got too caught up in daydreaming, or they may have got caught up in thinking, oh, it will happen sometime in the future, you know, living for the future rather than being in the present moment. Strength and stability. Seven of Swords, loss. Nine of Swords, anxiety. So this person, they know that they've basically got to put in the work now. They've got to do the right thing. They've got to open up the lines of communication. They've got to communicate honestly with you if there's going to be stability and a reconciliation within your connection, because there has been a loss with this Seven of Swords. Seven of Swords is often about running away from responsibilities as well, running away from conflict. They may have fears of being open and communicating their truth and their needs and anything like that, because they are fearful of confrontation as well. That may be something from their childhood, so they just learnt to just go with whatever and not speak up for themselves, or not talk about their emotions, or not talk about their needs or anything. They may have become self-reliant to the point of being that Hermit in reverse, which is like emotional unavailability, because they felt like they had to hide their emotions, protect their emotions in their childhood. So yeah, they have intense anxiety and sleepless nights because they fear losing you, or they fear that there's already been a loss and there's no coming back from that. Some of them, they're fearing that if they step forward, then they're going to lose you, because you may realize that they're not what you hoped them to be all along once you really get to know them. So they have that major fear as well. I was too afraid to tell you how much I love you. So they want you to know that they deeply love you. It was just their fears that were preventing them from openly communicating their truth to you. I became obsessed with you and it scared me. So the reason why this person became obsessed was because they had such deep emotions, but they were almost like putting a muzzle on themselves. You know, they were stopping themselves over and over and over again from expressing their truth, and so it all got bottled up. And then they may have started feeling as though they'd already made mistakes. They were making a fool out of themselves. They weren't doing the right thing, and they may have felt, you know, like they were already disappointing you, and you may have already started seeing them in a bad kind of light, and then it kind of worried them even more about expressing their feelings in case you rejected them, because, you know, they hadn't made the best decisions in the past. And so instead of expressing their feelings to you, they were thinking about you all the time. They were daydreaming, fantasizing. It was all getting bottled up more and more and more and more, and they didn't know how to cope with that emotionally. It turned into an obsession, and it's because they weren't allowing the energies of their true feelings to flow freely. They were bottling them up, and it just added so much pressure to them, and they put so much pressure onto this connection and they felt like they were doing things wrong. They felt like you saw them as doing things wrong. But then, you know, it's kind of getting worse and worse the more time passed, kind of thing. You're so perfect. I don't think I can be that perfect. So they really put you on a pedestal. And, you know, if they feel that you're perfect, most people in this life, they don't think of themselves as being perfect. And so this person doesn't feel good enough. I feel like this person, they wanted to wait and try and improve themselves in certain ways and be a better version of themselves before they came forward. But then I feel as though their efforts weren't happening in the way that they hoped, because it isn't about bettering yourself to feel worthy. It's about learning to know your worth no matter what. So this person, they may have been working behind the scenes, doing things in the wrong way, trying to build themselves up in some kind of way in order to try and feel good enough, but they hadn't fully grasped the reality that it's about them just needing to know their worth. Although we're from the same soul family, we're in totally different grades in our life lessons. So yeah, you are soul family members. But this can mean that maybe you have incarnated many more times on this earth plane than this person has. So maybe you have a lot more experience. Maybe you've learned a lot more from each lifetime. So this person, you know, they haven't learned as much. They're not as experienced, and therefore they don't know how to navigate their emotions or this connection as much as you do. I can't put my life on hold like this anymore. So some of them may have walked away. Some of them, they may have chosen someone else. Someone, you know, it may have come to a time in that crossroads where they needed to take a leap of faith, and they still felt like they couldn't do that, and so they may have just turned around and gone in a different direction. So let's look at these messages in here. What's this person want you to know? So, yeah, safer in status quo. So this person has felt safer in the comfort zones. So you may have had some kind of connection where you were kind of communicating, or this person was hinting to you, but they weren't really coming forward 100%, admitting their truth or stepping up or making things work. They weren't being 50-50 basically. They weren't pulling their weight. And it's because they kind of felt like you would hold on to them no matter what. They kind of felt like they had all the time in the world, maybe, to, you know, work on their self-esteem basically and their confidence, but then it just wasn't happening still. That's what I'm feeling. They were afraid to get too close because they felt like it might shatter your fantasies about this person. You know, they felt like the reality of them may disappoint you, so they felt like it was safer to keep their distance and keep you kind of daydreaming about them and holding on to this kind of daydream aspect rather than disappoint you with the reality of them. Shaking, sweating, stuttering. So this person has felt very intimidated in your presence, very nervous to the point where they were shaking and sweating and maybe even stuttering or things like that, feeling incredibly awkward. This person could feel extremely shy with you, and you know, it's really caused them to freeze in fear, and they may worry, they may not come forward and confess their feelings for you because they're afraid of being in your presence and then shaking, sweating, stuttering. You know, they may feel embarrassed by that. They may feel humiliated by that, you know, because they see you as this powerful, divine feminine, and they want to come across as the strength as well. They want to come across as powerful and emotionally stable and calm, cool and collected, but they feel as though that kind of mask is going to be shattered. You know, you're going to see through that completely if you see them like stumbling over their words and becoming extremely nervous in your presence. So that may be like a major factor for this person. They may be overthinking about those kinds of moments and feeling like they couldn't endure like the humiliation of coming across that way in front of you. I love you. So they want you to know that they truly love you. They think that you're perfect. They see you as the divine feminine. And none of this has been because they don't love you. It's been about their fears. Karmic contract. So if this person moved in a different direction and got with someone else, they want you to know that it's because there was a soul contract there, a karmic contract where they had to learn things from that. And there may be karma between both of you where there's been a lot of triggering, a lot of pain, but also a lot of happiness. And it's the karma, you know, learning lessons from each other. One final message. Jealous. You know, this person may be jealous if some of you have moved on and you're with someone else, but this is over there. I can't put my life on hold like this anymore. So some of you may be feeling jealous if they're with someone else, or I feel like there is some like possessiveness. Like this person does get jealous if they feel like you're moving on without them, or if they see another man or a woman, you know, depending on what resonates with you. If they see that pictures of you with these people or something on social media. So if you would like to really come into the energetic vibration where you can unite with a true soulmate, have a happy, healthy relationship, it could be with this person, or it can really help you manifest the person that you are destined for. You know, if it's part of your soul contract to be destined to be with someone else. So I have the meditation which is called I Am Loved, I Receive Love, and it's all about learning how to love yourself through the eyes of your soul family. So your soul family always know your worth. They always know that you're good enough and that you deserve great love, that you deserve happy, healthy relationships. And they really want you to know how to love yourself unconditionally. And in the meditation, I help you to connect with your spirit guides and heal previous wounds, especially to do with abandonment and rejection, which may have created some really deep subconscious beliefs about being unworthy, about not being good enough, not being lovable enough. And so I really help you to clear out those blocks and rewrite those like limiting stories that we tell ourselves subconsciously into much more positive stories about self-love. And that really helps you raise your vibration into the love vibration, so that, you know, whatever vibration you're in is what you manifest. So when you're in that self-love, you know your worth, you know that you deserve love, then you manifest that happy, healthy soulmate relationship into your life. So thank you so much. Take care. Bye.